course, Freddie Brown down.
All right, sorry to interrupt the game there for NBA playoffs. I promise we're going to get back to that, but we do have a tornado warning that was just issued here for parts of Hardin County into Grayson County as well. This is still a radar-indicated tornado that we're tracking as it moves just west of E-Town. We've been monitoring this for a while as it started to develop some rotation on that not too long ago in around portions of central Grayson County. That is now tracking to the north and east. And now its estimated speeds have been around 50 to 60 miles per hour, but we're starting to see much more of a tighter circulation that's been developing on this in the past few scans. And we've had a couple reports of some power outages along that line as well, but make sure I'm stressing this is still a radar indicated tornado. But if you're in Hardin County, Cecilia, E-Town, including that as well, you're likely hearing the air raid sirens going off right now as you need to get into the lowest of your home. Safe spot away from windows. Key on that as well, as we are tracking the intense line that storm's moving through. Not a lot of lightning with this, but certainly has got quite a bit of wind in a very focused area right now. And we're watching is going to be right into that area, very close to I would say close to east of Clarkson, Kentucky, northwest of Lacone, heading right on the border there, the northeast corner of Grayson, about to cross right into Hardin County. This is not moving very fast, only about 30 miles per hour the last check on that, but it is moving right along and just south of the Western Kentucky Parkway and could even cross over the Western Kentucky Parkway as we head into the next hour or two. Okay, they've also issued another severe thunderstorm warning. Let me get you back to the home view here. This is for a tornado possible tag on it. I got a feeling this is because of the same cell that is moving through the area. Hold on one second, see if I can get that to pop up. There it is. This is going to be, again, severe thunderstorm warning. This will include several spots here. We're going to add Grayson, Bullitt, Nelson, Hardin, LaRue on this warning until 10:15 Eastern Time. Again, a severe thunderstorm warning now for southern Bullitt County, not too far away from the parkways, or excuse me, around, say, Lebanon Junction, south of Highway 44, all the way down into the northwest side of LaRue. So LaRue is right on the edge of this track, and based on the movement we've had on this, it's likely going to skip just past that, and we need to monitor it. Otherwise, that cell moving right into the E-Town area if this holds. There's no confirmation of anything that's on the ground here. This has all been basically indicated by radar, and we've been tracking that for a while as it moved across areas into just east of Litchfield and the Clarkson community. Several of you have been watching with the stream with me that we've been on for this evening. And they also issued the flash flood warning for areas to the east. We'll come back to that here in just a second. Let me know, guys, in the control room if we have to do anything with boxes on the game. Let me know, because I know that we do have the NBA playoffs, but also make sure, again, everyone's safe on this storm. You may not be impacted directly in your area, but if you are in the path of this, this is one that's certainly going to get your attention as it moves off to the east and the northeast. So here's the Eastview community. Let me get back to just radar only. Hang on here and see if we can get that. There we go. Right across Eastview, here's Franklin Crossroads. Here's Highway 86, right in the core there of Hardin County, just west of Cecilia. Here's Hansborough there, and then Star Mills, and there's the WK. You see the Western Kentucky Parkway that goes all the way up into E-Town. Right along that path is where we've been tracking that circulation that's been moving along that field here for a while. So if you're in that path there, hopefully you got into a safe spot already. But the heavier rain that's been in the region today, especially with flash flooding, you may have had at times in the last 24 hours, but if you have not, now is the time to take action to get into that lowest level of your home, certainly into a basement, get away from windows, an interior room. That's the key spot you want to get into in a situation like this as these storms roll on through. I want to keep an eye on the velocity here, because I still think this is where we're going to be tracking will be these stronger wind surges that we're going to have. They haven't been lasting very long, so I personally don't think this is going to last for hours on end here. I think this could be a very short-term issue, but for now, it's right in this area. You see where those blues are really off the scale. The winds are showing inbound and outbound very close there to the Western Kentucky Parkway. And this is basically right on it. If there's anything at all that is lowered or is visible, I'm sure that the emergency managers and deputies are out looking right now. I don't want you guys to venture out. You guys stay at home. You can't see anything anyway. In this kind of a setup with such a very heavy rain scenario unfolding here. So just make sure to stay off the roads, let emergency vehicles get out, emergency managers and sheriffs to get to this area to see if this thing is even visible at all, if it's even dropping down, or is it just hovering above the ground. But this is certainly the track we're watching it as it moves there across the Western Kentucky Parkway. I think it will cross over the parkway along 62. So if you're in Eastview, Harcourt area, and then in Star Mills, and I know at this point we're getting a little closer to E-Town, right? So you guys just got a huge heads up from the Weather Service in Louisville to give you all a big warning, a severe thunderstorm warning, to just give you a game plan to react to it. Thankfully, it's not moving at 60 or 70 miles per hour, so you have a moment to get into your safe spot there and hopefully let this weekend before it even gets to E-Town. But you got to err on the side of caution as this moves off to the east. Let me see if I can play this out. Maybe moving too fast on the animation part of it all, but yeah, it's hard to tell. But it is moving there to the northeast at about 30 miles per hour. Put a stop on that. Get you back to the home view to show you again kind of the overall theme that we're looking at, because if you're hearing the weather radio go off, you're like, what is happening? We got several different types of warnings, all different colors here, right? You've got your flash flood warnings out for Breckinridge County after midnight, flash flood warning eastern Shelby County, and then you got these pair of severe thunderstorm warnings for the same issue, and then embedded in the middle of that is that tornado warning that is out now for Grayson County, heading to the northeast there. So I'll get a closer view on that. I'll zoom in a little bit more into areas right around E-Town. For those of you who are watching in E-Town, wondering if this is going to hold together or not, so far the scans take a few minutes to complete. This is out of the radar beam that we get in Fort Knox. Once that scan is completed, we get a full picture idea. I have seen this kind of bounce around a bit. We've actually been tracking a couple little notches along this. And it's been holding back and forth, but it was roughly about 6 minutes ago that we got a scan, and right when we saw it, the warning came out. So it jumped up there, and it's been holding at that level in the far northeast quadrant there of Grayson, moving along there along portions of the Western Kentucky parkways. We don't have a camera view yet in this area. I'm going to see if I can try to get one. Bear with me for just a second as we look at the radar. I'll see if I can get one brought up for you all. Again, this is going to be right along portions of the Western Kentucky Parkway, heading toward E-Town. And moving at about 30 miles per hour is the last check I had on that. Okay, this is not, hang tight for me, man. I'm going to try to get a different view of that cell as it moves into E-Town. We're trying to get a bird's eye view of it, because right now, again, I don't want anybody venturing out to try to look at this and not able to fully see where it's at. This is going to be tracking right into maybe close to Glendale. Glendale, you guys are right on the western side of that as it moves off to the northeast at a pretty good clip at the moment. And hold on one second here, see if I can get that to turn for me. If anybody's watching that area, again, please just stay at home to wait until this passes on by. For those of you wondering about the game, I promise you we're working on that too. Sorry, don't want to interrupt too much of the game here in your time, but this is obviously one of those situations. Anytime you deal with an isolated tornado warning, you got to be ready to go just in case you were to get any type of touchdown that could develop as it moves on by. All right, well, even the power outages are affecting part of the camera too. Looks like they're into E-Town. I'll try to get it brought up. I'll ask the control room if you see anything like that on the SkyTrack camera, anything pop up, please let me know and pop it back in if you don't mind. That should be E-Town when you see it. All right, so they just readjusted the warning, kind of just an update. That's why it's flashing. Still got that signature. It's now still hovering very close to the Western Kentucky Parkway at that northeast jog. Let me animate this a bit more and move it a little bit more into that spot we're looking at. I'll try to zoom it in real close here for those of you wondering. Let's see, hold on one second there. Okay, yeah, just watching all the different scans on this indicating that stronger rotation, which we talked about, but again, this is still not a confirmed tornado, so I want to be clear on that. We're just being very cautious on this as it tracks off to the north and east. All right, it's getting into the actual radar. If you look carefully, you can see a little bit of that C shape indicating where the rain, again, is kind of wrapping around that circulation at times, right along the parkway, heading over Highway 62 to the northeast. Got a new scan in, so I'll tell you what, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to get you back to the home view, get in a wider view of this entire cell that is tracking there to the northeast allowing for that tornado warning to hold tight. Lightning count, by the way, hasn't been too wild tonight. You're not going to see a ton of lightning here, but you will have a few strikes that you'll have to monitor as we head into the evening. So I'm going to get as tight here. I'm going to get a little bit closer at least, though. I know a lot of you are probably watching in E-Town and even south of Radcliffe. I would be on guard there, even in Radcliffe. Still some very heavy rain, and at the very least flash flooding will come your way. I'm hoping this will just gust itself out here soon and we don't have as much of a circulation only just for the next few minutes or so that will come into play. So here's the loop on it. And again, it started into central areas of Grayson. It's lifting. Now notice what's happening here. The last couple of scans on this, we do have a little bit more of a turn or a feed, a little more north than we do to the east. So that begs into question whether or not we could see the severe thunderstorm warning may get adjusted. We'll see a little bit more into the northern part here of Hardin County and a little bit more of Bullitt County. Maybe a little more included on that. While that is happening, the southern piece of this should maintain itself as long as it's spinning anyway. It will keep going more northeast for a bit longer before it gets that pull and that tug to head northbound. But until then, that happens. We're going to follow right along the parkway. We don't have a lot of traffic data yet coming in right now from that, but that's the scan anyway, or the zone that we're most concerned about. It's going to be right there around the West Kentucky Parkway. So here's what we're going to do. In this kind of a setup, especially when you have a very weak tornado signature that is showing up, that it comes and goes at times. And right now, I will say it is weaker on this most recent scan than what it looked like before. If we start to see that scan decrease in intensity and weaken, the warning will be able to get canceled and we'll be able to relax for a bit. And let's hope it doesn't try to spin again, and we'll be getting you back to the game here shortly. All right, I promise. So as we watch that little hook there, the little spin that was taking place as it moved out of Grayson County, northeast Grayson into Hardin County, I am not seeing the same values I did earlier. So I'm hoping that one more scan of this will help that, and hopefully we will see an update from the Weather Service. They're the ones that make the call on the warning being in effect or not. I'm just giving you my thoughts of what I'm seeing here. And yes, there is still some rotation, but it's much more of a wider turn versus like a figure skater that's spinning real tight on the ice like that. Obviously, when a skater, she takes her arms out wide, she has a slower speed. When she curls in, she spins a lot faster. It's the same thing happens with these storms. When they have a tighter spin, we can see that show up on the radar. That is how you get into a tornado warning type of status, and one that can actually develop and touch down is when you get into that environment. But we don't have that yet, but we're close at times. But I will say that the arms have reached out a little more than what they had, so I'm hoping that will be a good sign, and this will be just a distant memory here soon. But for the moment, still be on guard for this until it passes on by here. If you've been hearing your weather radio go off or different notifications for flash flooding, we've had several reports of that too. They've been ongoing here for a while for very heavy rainfall rates. Last time I checked, we were running about 1.8 to 2.0 inches per hour on these showers and storms. They've been racing here in western Kentucky. So flash flooding is another issue, and to be honest with you, is much more of an impactful issue than a tornado is going to be here in this kind of a setup tonight. So please be careful. If you have to travel at all, make sure you take a route that you're used to. Familiar roads, and if they look a little odd, like they're washed out, and some roads like in eastern Shelby have been washed out, so please don't take that chance. Just turn around, don't drown, as we always say, to be on the safe side there. So here's the looping of that, and I know it goes by fairly quick, but you get the idea of the showers and storms are just racing by here. They have decreased a bit more on the intensity of what we had earlier on compared to what we had in western Kentucky. So let me get into a wider view, kind of recap all the different alerts we've got. Got that one severe thunderstorm warning that got a lot of our attention too, all the way into Bullitt County, but we'll see whether or not that will maintain itself. What the Weather Service is probably going to do, considering that there is another one trying to form underneath that C there on Litchfield, another cell is trying to form. So there could be more than one that may try to piggyback here, but that severe thunderstorm warning may cover that for a bit longer. The warning itself is going to be expiring on the tornado warning side. That is going to be taking place just for the next, I would say, 10, 15 minutes or so, and that'll be dropped here. I don't think it's going to go the entire length from what I can tell on the radar. In fact, I don't think it's going to go that long because it is starting to decrease on its intensity side here. In Louisville, by the way, it's just rain we're talking about. If you're wondering if we're getting the severe weather, right now we're not. I know that we don't have to go too far away from the metro, especially the southern and southwest side here of the metro, and that's where we got a little bit more of an issue with those strong winds moving through the area. All right, let's get back into the velocity. I want to make sure these scans are coming in and staying clean on us here to where they can stay to the point of that weakening trend that we're getting compared to what we had earlier. So to do that, let me get right back in to the western part here of Hardin County. I don't want to say, by the way, that Grayson is completely in the clear. You do have another storm that is forming west of Litchfield, but as far as this particular storm, you're good. You're okay now from the tornado warning threat in Grayson from this storm. You're okay. I don't see anything developing on the tornado side with that new one that has formed, but don't let your guard down completely. Just for right now, you can relax and come back out of your safe spot there into Grayson County, and we'll keep an eye on it. If you're in Hardin County, stay where you are. Let's give this just a bit of a moment here as it tracks right along really the Western Kentucky Parkway and State Road there 62 as it heads just south of the Franklin Cross area. I'm going to try to get into a little bit closer view on that. It's going to be tough to get specifics on this one, on the exact location, just given the idea that it is really tracking and becoming very broad in its circulation. But if I had to guess, it is going to be just right in through here, just south of the word there on the town of Eastview, right? That's where its track is going to be, moving right across 6284. And again, the Parkway is a fair spot, even around White Mills and Harcourt area, seeing some of that rotation, at least broad, that is moving in here. Now, this is just south of the radar beam at Fort Knox, so it can get a little muddled at times until it gets a little bit further east, but I think overall it's in a good spot. All right, let's see, Mesonet, as they're watching some of the wind pick up a little bit more on the Mesonet, they are going to keep the tornado warning longer. They're going to hold on to it. They want a few more scans before they let it go. So Weather Service is going to hold on to the tornado warning that will stay in effect for this one here. All right, so let me get you back into a closer view because we're going to hang tight with this until we get the all clear officially, and this thing has behaved itself, if you will, as it moves across Hardin County. But at the moment, this is where we're watching. Right, there's a notch. There's been a couple other little notches. There's one there. We had one located just north of Wrightyville for a while. I'm not seeing that signature as strong as what I did earlier. But this is the one that seems to stand out the most. And we do have storm spotters that are actually in the vicinity of this. We have yet to hear too much from them yet. We have some in Breckinridge County and some in Grayson. We're waiting to get official word back from them. I'm sure they're trying to get into place. Everyone's been trying to enjoy their Friday evening here, but we got to get through this storm first before we can do that. So let me bring up an even closer view of where I think at the moment, anyone you know that's traveling on the Western Kentucky Parkway, you may want to give them a call. I know they may be heading out with a camper on or a boat. I have no idea. Heading out to their vacation spot, give them a call and let them know they just want to pull off to the side, find somewhere for now, especially if you're heading out of E-Town, heading in that direction. They need to get off the Western Kentucky Parkway for a bit. Let this pass on by and they can resume the travels to the rest of the evening. Otherwise, you're kind of just in a tough spot here until it passes on by. And this is nothing that's on the ground, so this is all just been radar indicated, but unfortunately, we don't get a lot of data here in this section of Grayson County and Western Hardin County very often. We don't have a lot of concrete data here, so we're going based on radar, and let's hope this is something that's just a brief funnel that formed and went back up in the clouds, and we can put our minds at ease for the rest of the evening here. But for right now, we just have to be ready just in case that's not the issue. Obviously, we don't want anybody to be in the path of this, right? Let me check any storm reports we've got. I have 0 coming in on that. I don't think there's been even any impings even of wind. Let me see if there have been any. Nope, none that I could see here. Let me scan all the way around. I don't see any in that area. So I think right now we're okay on any damage reports coming in. That's just fine. We don't want to hear anything that's been taking place. And hold on one second, the radar's kind of, there we go, kind of locked up on me. So there's that tornado warning in effect. The expiration time set on that till 15 after the hour. So technically about 20 minutes away for that tornado warning that is going to hold on here for just a little bit longer as they get a couple more scans on this. Cecilia, Kentucky, I will say the radar is at least weakened on your rainfall rate here. That's a good sign. This thing really picked up in intensity for a bit, and then it crossed into the western side here of Hardin County. Now it's starting to weaken just a bit. You see the second one going up here near Clarkson. That's again why I don't think you need to completely let your guard down from strong storms from being an issue as we evolve into the rest of the evening, but just be weather aware that there could be some strong storms rolling through here. All right. Do we have the SkyTrack camera? Do we see that at all on our Weather One? Are we able to punch that up? I want to see if we can show that view in E-Town. Okay, hang tight. They're going to try to get that punched up. I'm going to try to get the camera up at the right angle so we can kind of see where this is located. If there's anything at all, any lightning at all would help out, but certainly looking toward the direction of the Western Kentucky Parkway would be a big help to us here. So see if we can pull that through. Okay, I think it may be locked up, so hang tight. Again, it's been taking some power hits. They're into E-Town. I don't think it's going to be updating. Sorry about that. Okay, well, unfortunately, there have been at least some outage impacts to that. So let's get back over to the radar. That's where some of your heavier rain is. Now, our camera feed has been in heavy rain bands several times here today, but it's now got another one approaching on this western side there of Hardin County. Notice how on the southern edge of this, it's been drifting in and starting to tilt up a bit more. So that south flow is really kicking in here to push these storms up another notch. So we're going to get as a training effect of several different rounds here of severe weather and storms. All right, the tornado warning has now been dropped. They gave it another scan to give it all clear. I'm going to check my scans just to make sure we got the same thing lining up, and if we do, I'll get you guys back over to the NBA playoffs here, so hang tight for just a second here. I just want to confirm it, and if we got a good scan, we're good to go. It's very broad rotation, but I do not see anything too alarming, but I will be streaming on Wave Weather Now right now to continue this conversation if you want to join me there. All right, again, severe thunderstorm warning still out there for Bullitt County and Hardin County for about another 30 minutes as we watch this line of strong storms rolling through. We're here watching it. I promise you we'll break back in if necessary if another tornado warning is issued. Let's get you back over now to the NBA playoffs.